Oh, I am so happy to be here with all of you, and I can't thank Victoria and Dana enough for the wonderful hospitality that I've received, and I am so looking forward to working with your leadership team over the next couple of days. And this is the first Sunday of Lent, and yeah, we are now heading into Easter. How did that happen? We just had the burning bowl. The title of my talk today is we are releasing, but embracing the power of renewal. And so we're going to be diving into the topic of both timeless and deeply transformative times, and that is the power of renewal. And renewal is a powerful process that invites us to shed the old and make way for the new. You probably have heard this acronym in Unity for Lent, and it is Let's Eliminate Negative Thoughts. And I want to use it a little bit different because I think right now we need to let's eliminate negative thinking, because that can be dangerous when we head down that rabbit hole. So eliminating negative thinking. So renewal is very important when we think about that. Renewal is a fundamental principle in nature, and you folks are surrounded by nature. And it's also fundamental in our lives and in our spiritual journey. Yet one of the biggest challenges we face, and you know this as well as I do, is the struggle to let go. The struggle to let go, holding on to the familiar, even when it no longer serves us. We have this aversion to thinking that there might be something different, but I'll hold on to what I've got because I know what it is. I know what it is, even when it's not what I want. I'll hold on because it's comfortable. I'm seeing nodding of heads. You know what I'm talking about. However, true renewal requires the courage to release what is holding us back. True renewal requires the courage to let go. It's about embracing change, letting go of the old, and welcoming the new with open hearts and open minds. And that's what the song was all about, letting go. Something more is waiting, but unless we're willing to let go, we're not going to get it. So let's consider the natural world to begin with. And as I said, it's all around us. And we see renewal in the changing of the seasons. There was a time in my life when I lived in Virginia Beach. And I'm from Maine, as Victoria said. And Maine is home. It always, it's where I was born and grew up. And when I went to Virginia Beach, it was a very different climate. It's like here. I'm like, oh my goodness, the daffodils are out. I just noticed the forsythia bush. We got another month and a half before I get to see that at home. And yet, it happens. It has its natural rhythm. Nature has its natural rhythm. And we do if we allow it. Nature doesn't say, no, I'm comfortable right here. I'm not going to move any further. Nature says, okay, I'll let go. I'll let go. In the spring, we see the blooming of the flowers and the shedding of the leaves in autumn. Nature constantly reminds us that renewal is a cycle, a rhythm that keeps life vibrant and ever evolving. When I went back to Maine after living for 10 years in Virginia Beach, I remember standing out in the driveway when I was surrounded by trees, oak trees and ash and all, and I heard this noise. I thought, what is that? And then all of a sudden I realized it was the wind blowing the leaves. In Virginia Beach, we didn't have that. And it was like, oh my gosh, that's a sound that I'm not used to, because we just don't have those kind of trees. Now, what you do have that I don't have, which I missed, is redbuds. I love the redbuds. So just as the earth renews itself, we too have the ability to renew our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. So imagine using your power of imagination of holding on to a leaf that has dried and withered. It once brought beauty and life, but now it no longer fills its purpose. Clinging to it only delays the inevitable process of growth. Renewal asks us to trust in the cycle of life, to let go of the old leaf and welcome the budding new growth. Think about that, friends. We're like that leaf, and there are parts of us that have outgrown its purpose, and we need to let go of that. We often resist letting go because it feels like a loss, a surrender of control. But in truth, letting go is an act of faith. I love the word surrender, and if any of you are familiar with 12-step, which I am, when we surrender is when we become all-powerful. Just think about that. When we surrender, we become all-powerful because we let go of attachment. And attachment keeps us stuck. It's an acknowledgement that life is ever evolving, and by releasing the past, we create space for fresh opportunities and experiences. It's in this space that renewal happens, where we can tap into new energy, creativity, and perspectives. How many of you have seen the movie The Conclave? Anybody in here? I love that movie. I just watched it a couple of weeks ago. And there was a line in it that Cardinal Lawrence said, and he was talking to all of his peers. They had gathered that first night. And he said, I'm going to talk to him, going off script. And he said, I'm going to tell you something. And he said that the moment that we have certainty, the moment that we feel like we have the answer, we no longer need faith. We no longer need doubt. And I think about that often now since I heard that, because the moment that we have certainty, we close all doors to other possibilities. And he says, what do we need faith and doubt for? Because we know. And when that happens, we are no longer into the mystery. I want to live in the mystery. I want to be curious. I want to see what's coming. And as long as I hold tight to what I have, I'm not open for that. In unity, we understand that our thoughts and beliefs shape our reality. You know that. When we align our thoughts with the principles of renewal, we open ourselves to limitless possibilities. And that's where I want to live from. I want to live from limited possibilities. I want to wake up every morning and be curious, what does today have to offer? Who's going to show up in my life today that has a gift for me or has a message for me? And it invariably, somebody or something comes that I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. So renewal is just about starting over. It's not just about starting over. It's about evolving into the best versions of ourselves. It's about releasing what no longer serves us and making room for new ideas, making room for experiences, making room for growth. I want to share a story with you, and it's how I got to ministerial school. I found myself stuck in a job that no longer fulfilled me. Now, that job was working for my son. Yeah, instead of the son working for the mother was working for the son. My son had a very successful trucking business, and I was running his office. But I wasn't very content. I knew my job, I knew what I was doing, I was paid well, but there was something more. There was something more, and I felt that I was stuck in that job. And despite the comfort and the security, I no longer knew that was where I wanted to be. And that was a hard place, because if I left my son, oh my gosh, what would that be? I mean, I had all of those strings attached to me of, you don't do that. You know, that's your son. You gotta help him. You gotta take care of him. But what I realized was that where I was and where he was and what was going on was not in alignment with who I was. And it started because I walked into a Unity church. And it was in 1989, and this was in 92, 93, when I got this real strong, it's time to leave. And I was reading a book, and it was called Hind's Feet on High Places. Anybody know that book? I'm seeing somebody, yes. And it was a story about a woman called Much Afraid. And she lived with a family of Fearings. And the Good Shepherd came into town, and he was calling people to follow him. Come with me. Put down your fishes and your poles and come with me. And she wanted to go, but she couldn't. She couldn't leave her family. And so then what happened? I was reading this book. It was July 4th, 1993. And I was in a relationship. I'd been in a relationship for 3 years. And my significant other, we were sitting, and he was doing whatever he was doing, and I was reading the book. And all of a sudden, I threw that book across the room, and I started sobbing. And he said, "What the heck? What just happened here?" And what I didn't share was, as I was becoming more and more involved in Unity, which I did because I had found my tribe, I was becoming so immersed in everything, and people were saying to me, "You need to become a minister." And I'm saying, "Not me, not me." And so what happened was, when I realized what that book did, is it gave me the opportunity to look 5 years into my life, and did I want to be where I was in 5 years, where I was right then? And the answer was no. And the only way that was going to change is for me to have the courage to step up. And that's when I did. I said to my to my significant other at the time, who became my husband, I said, "We got to go see the minister." It was Audrey McGinnis. It was, as I said, 4th of July. I called her out and said, "Can we come down?" And she said, "Of course," because we were her right hands. He was running the bookstore. He was the maintenance person. I was on the board chair. And I told her what happened. And she said, "Okay, here's the process." And that's when my process started. And I graduated, as Victoria said, in 1996. But it took courage, and it was an opportunity for me to let go of what no longer was serving me, and I did it kicking and screaming. But my life was transformed, and I found a renewed sense of purpose and joy. And you know what happened? When I told my son what I was doing, it freed him up. Because he also felt like what he was doing, he had to continue it because for me. So you see how that works? One of us has to stop dancing. And I stopped dancing. And his life went in a totally different direction as well. So it's in this space that renewal happens, where we can tap into new energy, creativity, and perspectives. So take a moment and reflect on what you might be holding on to. It could be an old belief, a past experience, or a role that no longer aligns with your true self. And that's what I found. The role I was in was not aligning with who I was or who I was becoming. Recognizing that letting go is not a sign of weakness, but a powerful step towards renewal and growth. Trust that what awaits you on the other side is a fuller expression of who you are meant to be. This just popped into my head, so I'll share it. Early on, probably in before this ever came up of what I started to do, I did this vision book, and I still have it. And on the cover of this vision book is a woman standing right where I am at this moment. That was the picture I had on the front of that vision book. No idea that this is what I would be doing. Ooh, that just gives me goosebumps all over when I think about that. So if there's something that you're holding back on, take that step. Because you can't even begin to imagine how things can be different for you. So I want us to consider the story of the phoenix. The phoenix is a mythical bird that rises from its own ashes. It sets itself on fire. And then from their own ashes, they're reborn and renewed. This is a powerful symbol that teaches us that no matter how challenging our circumstances may be, we have the inner strength to rise again. And you know that. I mean, I'm looking at most of you who have had a few years of life. And you have been through many challenging situations, and you're still here. So you know that it's possible. You know that when things come up, you're going to have the resources within you. I mean, Unity teaches our 12 powers. They're all right within us. Strength, love, faith, understanding, wisdom, everything we need. And we've got it. We can do it. Each of us carries the spirit of the phoenix within us. We have the power to transform and renew our lives, no matter how difficult they may have been. It took me 3 times to get a successful marriage. But I kept learning each time. I kept making better choices. But I want to say to that, I used to say, oh my God, if I made it 25 years with one person, that would be a miracle. Well, I did. I started early. Renewal begins with self-awareness. It starts with recognizing the areas in our lives that need to change and being honest with ourselves with what we need to let go of. Whether it's old habits, limiting beliefs, past hurts, renewal requires courage and a willingness to embrace the unknown. It's about trusting that something better is on the horizon. As you embark on this journey of renewal, remember to be kind to yourself. This process may not be easy, and there will be moments of discomfort. And you know, one of the things that I've learned is we hate discomfort. We hate being uncomfortable. And this is where we resort back to what's comfortable, even when it's not what we want. I invite you to sit in the discomfort. Acknowledge, I am uncomfortable right now, but I'm going to stay with it. Because that is what you need. That's what takes you to the next step. Embrace these moments as part of your transformation. Surround yourself with a supportive community. Why are you here? That was for me. I had found my tribe. I had found people. You know, I used to say, I used to say, I love being in a community of like-minded people. A few years back, I changed that. I said, I like to be in a community of positive-minded people, because I don't want everybody to think the same way I do. I want other people, it's okay, yeah. I want other people to have their opinions and their thoughts. If everybody thinks the same way I do, none of us are gonna grow. Amen, yes. So yes, I want to be with people who are thinking of what can I do next to make it better. Not only better for myself, but better for other people. That's what I want. I want to be with people who are evolving, not stuck. I turn 80 in May. Yeah. And I want to tell you, I am more excited about life today than I was when I was 60. I have more irons in the fire right now. Victoria knows. I have more irons in the fire right now than I did when I was 60. I am so excited about what the next 10, 20 years are going to be. And I want to stay to see how all this mess gets turned around. Yeah. Don't take me out yet. So how do we move from a place of feeling like I'm here, I'm marking time? I don't want to mark time. I want to move. And one of the ways that I do, and I'm going to invite you into, is to have a practice of gratitude. This morning when I was writing my gratitude list, I was writing, I am in such a beautiful place. I am so comfortable. I have this cute dog, Luna, in the room with me. I mean, all those things were going on my gratitude list. And I do it every single morning. And it may be as much as, sometimes, because I write 6 gratitudes, sometimes I just write 6 times. I'm grateful, I'm grateful, I'm grateful. Other times, I'll pull out many other things. But gratitude sets your energy into motion. It rises your frequency. We know we are all frequency. It's all about energy. And when my frequency is up here, I'm going to draw people that have that same frequency to me. When my frequency's down here, I'm going to do the same thing. And those aren't the places I want to live. So gratitude brings me into a frequency of expansiveness. And when we focus on what we're grateful for, we shift our energy and open ourselves to positive change. Gratitude helps us see the beauty in the present moment and encourages us to welcome new experiences with a grateful heart. And that's what we're here for, friends. We are the light bearers right now. How many of you are familiar with Walter Starkey? Anybody read Walter Starkey's stuff? He was probably before your time. Anyway, Joel Goldsmith. Anybody know Joel Goldsmith? Okay. Well, Walter Starkey was a student of Joel Goldsmith's. And back in 1992, my husband and I went to a retreat at his place down in Boerne, Texas. And I remember so clearly, and this was back in 1992, I remember so clearly Walter talking about us being the bridge from the old consciousness to the new consciousness. And that our lights have to shine brighter than ever. And that is exactly what we're here for. We are here to be the lights for those who are looking. And so share with others around you your light. Share why you are here in this community. Share how this community changes your life. You know, we'll talk about a movie we've seen. Oh, you got to go see that movie. Or a great restaurant we've been at. Or a great doctor or whatever. But we don't share this. And it's time. It's time to share this. Because people are needing it right now. The world is hurting right now. And they can find solace by coming here. So don't keep it under a basket. Let your light shine. Thank you.